8. That the state is nothing but an instrument in the hands of one class for the oppression of another class. That the proletariat too needs a state of its own. That the struggle of the proletariat for socialism must lead to the establishment of the dictatorship of the proletariat, which lasts for a whole historical period and is the instrument of the proletariat for suppressing any attempts of the bourgeoisie at the restoration of capitalism on the one hand, and for creating the material, social, and cultural conditions for the transition to the next, the higher stage of communism, in which the state withers away and society is able to move from the formula, in Marx's words, from each according to his ability to each according to his work, to from each according to his ability to each according to his needs. 9. In the words of Lenin, if we translate the Latin scientific, historical, philosophical term dictatorship of the proletariat into simple language, it means just the following. Only a definite class, namely the urban workers and the factory industrial workers in general, is able to lead the whole mass of the working and exploited people in the struggle to throw off the yoke of capital, in actually carrying it out, in the struggle to maintain and consolidate the victory, in the work of creating the new socialist system, and in the entire struggle for complete abolition of classes. 10. That commodity production and socialism are incompatible, and it's the function of socialism to eliminate commodity production and the market and make way for planned production, which instead of being regulated by profit, is guided by the principle of maximum satisfaction of the constantly rising material and spiritual needs of the people. 11. That all bourgeois prejudices against the Soviet Union, this is I'd like you to pay particular attention to, all bourgeois prejudices against the Soviet Union of the period of J.V. Stalin's leadership must be dropped. During that period, the Soviet Union made earth-shaking achievements in every field, from socialist construction through collectivization to victory in the anti-fascist war, of which the proletarians and oppressed peoples of the world have every right and duty to be proud. Negating that important period in the history of the international working class movement has only served to negate the most glorious achievements of the working class to date, to defame the dictatorship of the proletariat and the international communist movement, and sully the banner of Marxism-Leninism. Our movement must understand that anti-Stalinism always was, and is now, a cover for attacking Marxism-Leninism, and especially the dictatorship of the proletariat. The purpose being, and it's a quotation from Stalin, to kill in the working class the faith in its own strength, faith in the possibility and inevitability of victory, and thus to perpetuate capitalist slavery, unquote. 12, that the guard and fight against all forms of opportunism, social democracy, Trotskyism and revisionism must never lessen, for the fight against imperialism is a sham and humbug unless it's inseparably bound up with the fight against opportunism. And finally, number 13, that in its struggle for power, the proletariat and the centers of imperialism must wholeheartedly support the national liberation movements of the oppressed peoples against imperialism. For, quotation, the revolutionary movement in the advanced countries would actually be a sheer fraud if, in their struggle against capital, the workers of Europe and America were not closely and completely united with hundreds upon hundreds of millions of colonial slaves who were oppressed by capital. That's from Lenin at the Second Congress of the Communist International. Comrades, when we support the Iraqi resistance or Afghan resistance, our ever so clever and ever so radical opponents in the working class movement say, so you support fundamentalists, so you support Iraqi Muslims, you support Afghan Muslims. My answer to them is the same as that of Stalin in 1924. The Emir of Afghanistan knows nothing about socialism. He's never heard of socialism. He's not from the working class and has no connection to the working class. But he fights against imperialism. Therefore, in the fight against imperialism, he can be our ally. The Labour Party in Britain, on the other hand, calls itself socialist. It has connection to the trade union of the working class. But it's in favor of the occupation of Egypt and other colonies. Therefore, it's an enemy of the working class. It's a friend of imperialism. And that's the difference we made. It was the Labour... Persons who constantly talk about, Labour Party being the party of the working class. What a bankruptcy. I always give the example. If I owned Sainsbury, and I told every customer who came to my store saying, the best store for shopping is Tesco or Waitrose, go there, I would soon deserve to go out of business, would I not? These are the people who say the Labour Party is the party of the working class. If indeed it is the party of the working class, and I take their word for it, is it not the height of sectarianism that they have separate parties? Why would you not be in the party of the working class? If we thought there was another party that was fit to be the party called the party of the working class, we'd join, we will not separate. I've often given this example. One of the members of the Labour Party left his wife. A lot of people leave their wives. It's not my concern. It's a private grief. It's not something to be celebrated. He left his wife. What was his public excuse? His wife wanted to send their son to a private school, and he, being a man of principle, could not tolerate it, so he left his wife. Now, you can't but help saluting a person who got such principle that he would leave his loving wife and whom he loved dearly. He left her. He left her because he wanted to send their kid to a private school. I asked the same member of parliament, and I ask him now through this meeting, what crimes has Labour Party got to commit before you will divorce this Labour Party?